Hello and welcome to BOAKS Beer. Today we're going to learn how BOAKS Beer started and a little bit about the beers that we have available for you today. This all started back actually in 1977 when my mom used to call me a beer snob for drinking Molson Golden Ale. And if you were around back in 1977, you know that there weren't too many beers available and there weren't too many 17 or 18-year-olds drinking imported beers. So my tastes have progressed over time. Fast forward to 1999, and my wife and I were buying items in linens and things for my son for college, and I was walking by a display of Mr. Beer kits, $25, make your own beer. I said, Jan, have the kids buy me that for Father's Day. That would be really neat. So that made 2 gallons of beer, and we made a couple batches like that, and I said, you know, you got to wait 3 weeks for it to be ready. You only get about a case of beer. We need to make more beer at the same time. So I took one of the water jugs from the office and started making 5-gallon batches of beer. Made a couple batches like that. And I said, you know, if I get a bigger pot, I could make more beer. So I went out and got an 8.5-gallon stainless steel pot and started making 10-gallon batches of beer. Well, one thing led to another, and I got some more equipment. I got some corny kegs, those 5-gallon soda kegs, and several more carboys, and went from making 5 gallons to 10 gallons, 10 gallons to 20 gallons, made a couple 30-gallon batches. At that point I decided I would switch from brewing from powdered and liquid extracts over to all grain. So I stepped back to making a 10-gallon batch for a little bit, just to get my hands back on it and get the equipment together. And then I went back up to making 20-gallon all-grain batches, which is what my sample batches are when I brew at home to experiment with new recipes. Around that time I started entering some competitions. In 2003 I won a first place for the beer that is called Monster Mash. And in 2005 Monster Mash won Best in Show at the New Jersey State Fair. Several other of my beers had won several awards along the way. During that time, I had met the owner of a brewery that's close to my house and started helping out there during the tours, and eventually became the guide for the brewery tours. And he was able to sample my beers along the ways, and we were talking about opening up another brewery for myself. And then he decided that he had some capacity and he could brew the beer for me, and I could become what's called a contract brewer, which basically means I hire somebody to brew the beer. But if you look at a lot of other breweries out there, for example Samuel Adams at Brooklyn Brewery, they did pretty much the same thing where they hired somebody to brew the beer for them. So I think I'm following in very good footsteps. We currently have 4 beers available today. We have 3 that are bottled and 1 that's a draft beer only. We have Monster Mash, which is a 10% 100 IBU Russian Imperial Stout. Now my Imperial Stout is a little lighter in body than most Imperial Stouts, which makes it much easier to drink. Also makes it a little scarier to drink because you don't realize you're drinking a big beer. That's why if you look on the label, the monster has a big club in his hand, because if you drink too many of them, he will feel like he beat you over the head. Our second beer is called 2 Blind Monks. Its original homebrew name was called 2 Drunk Monks, but I knew I'd never get that past the federal government. So I had to think of another name. Couldn't use drunk, couldn't use inebriated, couldn't use lit, couldn't use hammered. Blind works. And if you look at the label closely, you notice that both the monks are wearing dark sunglasses because they are blind. 2 Blind Monks is a 7% Belgian double. And again, following along the lines of Monster, it's not exactly the way most doubles are. Most of them are a lot sweeter than mine. Some of them are almost syrupy sweet. And that's the one part of the doubles I don't like. So I didn't make mine syrupy sweet. So you've got a medium amber beer that's got that slight tartness that you would expect from a Belgian beer. That little residual sweetness that you're going to get out of a Belgian double, but not very sweet, which makes it very easy to drink. That beer won a bronze medal at the LA International Beer Competition in 2009, and it won a gold medal for Best Belgian Beer at the Atlantic City Beer Festival. Our next beer is called Double BW, and most people are confused by the name because the first thing they think is Double Belgian White, and it's not. It's a 4.2% Belgian wheat beer with lemongrass. Very light, very refreshing, little zip of lemon. It's not a wit, it's not a white, and definitely not a double at 4.2%. It has no coriander, it has no bitter orange peel. The only spice in there is lemon zest. Just enough to give it a nice hint of lemon. Perfect for a vegetarian meal, a nice fish dish, or a nice spicy meal. Cuts through that spiciness real well. Excellent for the summer, but good for any year-round light drinking beer. Our fourth beer is a draft beer only, and that's called Abbey Brown, and that's a 7% Belgian brown ale. It's similar to Two Blind Monks, but a little bit more chocolatey, and a little bit fuller body because we use a little bit more Belgian aromatic malt in there. So that is our lineup of beers. I hope you enjoy them, and I feel that you should call me or email me if you have any questions. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.